From losing millions of dollars in bets that dented a hole in his wallet to becoming a curse in sports that athletes don't want on their side. This is the Drake curse, and Jake Paul blames him for losing his fight. Drake's become a name that strikes fear in every fan's heart, and now Jake Paul's had enough. Apparently, the YouTuber turned boxer is superstitious and blames the Canadian rapper for his most recent loss. You see, the Grammy-winning rapper bet $400,000 that Paul would defeat Tommy Fury, and with the odds set at plus 360, had Drake won the bet, it would have paid out $1.4 million. Paul was able to take down Fury in the 8th round using a jab to catch the Briton off balance and knocked him to the ground. It looked like Paul was on the road to victory, but then the Drake curse happened. 3 judges gave Fury a close victory with scores of 74-75, 76-73, and 76-73. Nothing could change the judges' minds, and Drake had done it again. Not only did Drake lose his bet, but talk of the notorious Drake curse is now back in full swing. At the post-fight press conference, Paul told reporters, "Drake is to blame for this." Jake was kidding, obviously, but he continued the gag a little more, asking, "Drake, bro, why you doing this to me?" In the end, Jake was quick to clarify that he was simply pulling the Canadian's leg and that the only person to blame was himself. By the way, Drake's made a ton of money betting on Jake in the past, so this loss makes them about even now. I guess we'll have to wait for a rematch to see if anything changes, but what hasn't changed is Drake's reputation in sports. Now, I'm not superstitious or anything, but in recent years, the 4-time Grammy winner's often been accused of cursing various athletes, particularly in basketball. The Drake curse has become well known in the NBA due to players and fans' propensity to be superstitious. Many people truly believe that Drake siding or betting on teams will affect the outcomes of games. Did you know that the Drake curse has even become one of the most popular memes on the internet? It comes from the many losses of players and teams after they've interacted with the Canadian artist. Simply put, any team or person that Drake openly supports will lose. Even against the odds, if Drake wears their jersey, is pictured with them, has publicly expressed his support for them, or especially if he's betting on them, run the other way. That's some serious power right there. Since its peak in 2019, many feel the Drake curse is subsiding, since he's been hanging out with several prominent celebrities and nothing bad has happened. For instance, in October of 2021, days before Bayern Munich crushed Bayer Leverkusen 5-1, Drake was photographed standing next to fellow countryman Alphonso Davies. And then Tyson Fury defeated Deontay Wilder in their Las Vegas trilogy fight the same month after receiving online support from Drake. The Gypsy King even mocked the so-called curse on his Instagram stories, saying it's rubbish and that there's no such thing. But after Jarrell Miller's failed drug test derailed his American debut, Anthony Joshua quipped that he was a sufferer from the Drake curse. Miller's not the only one, though. The Drake curse has had many victims. I mean, little did AJ realize that he'd suffer his first career loss at the hands of Miller's replacement, Andy Ruiz Jr. The Drake curse was first noticed by fans in basketball before moving on to football, boxing, MMA, tennis, and other sports. In fact, Drake tried to break the superstition himself by donning Philadelphia 76ers shorts when his hometown basketball team, the Toronto Raptors, defeated them. And after the Raptors defeated the Orlando Magic in the 2019 NBA playoffs, Drake said, "You want me to talk about the curse, or are you guys good?" Ouch! Y'all got under his skin. This thing's been going on for quite some time, and it all started with Serena Williams back in 2015. Drake was rooting for Serena in the finals, but in the end, she lost. Turns out the Golden State Warriors are no strangers to the Drake curse as well. The Warriors were enjoying the best season of their career when the curse suddenly reared its ugly head. In a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Warriors were winning 3-1 when Drake placed a sizable bet on them. Against all odds, Cleveland miraculously recovered and made a historic comeback. But tennis stars, boxers, and basketball franchises are far from the only victims of the Drake curse. UFC superstar Conor McGregor was the next victim of the Drake curse. Moments before his 2018 fight with Khabib, Drake shared a photo of Conor, and some people got ahead of themselves. Anthony Joshua shared a photo with Drake and captioned it with the words, about to break the curse. And let me tell you, Joshua soon lost all 4 of his heavyweight championships to Andy Ruiz that same year. But the Toronto Raptors appeared to break the alleged curse in 2019 when they became the first Canadian franchise to win an NBA title. Since then, the rapper lost huge sums of money on both football and UFC bets. Some of his victims have also included UFC fighters like Jose, Aldo, Justin Gaethje, and NFL players like Paul Pogba and Jadon Sancho. Although there have been a few instances where the Drake curse almost never fails to hit. It's a good thing the rapper has a net worth of roughly $250 million, because if not, those losing bets would have bankrupted him by now. And his most recent betting loss came at a time when people were saying the curse was officially lifted. But back in 2022, when the FIFA World Cup was underway, all broke loose after a video surfaced online of Drake making his final prediction that Argentina would win. He even bet $1 million that on December 18th, the South American squad would defeat France in Doha's Lusail Stadium. Soon after, a number of internet users hailed France for beating Argentina based on the Drake curse flooding Twitter and Instagram feeds. I mean, at this point, it's a running joke on the internet. In 2019, even AS Roma joked on Twitter that they'd banned all of their players from having their photos taken with the pop star. Argentina eventually won, but the game was way too close for my liking. After Kylian Mbappe tied the score in less than 2 minutes, Argentina surrendered a comfortable 2-0 advantage to France in the second half of the game. Then, in overtime, Lionel Messi gave his team a 1-goal advantage, but the 23-year-old Kylian was able to tie the game once again. In the end, Argentina went on to win the 2022 World Cup, beating France 4-2 in a penalty shootout and took home the trophy. This begs the question, was the Drake curse lifted? After Jake Paul's loss, I don't think so. And some would argue that by becoming the first Canadian franchise to win the NBA title in 2019, the Toronto Raptors technically broke the curse. Since then, though, the Drake curse has reappeared, with the rapper losing millions of dollars on UFC and football bets, including in October when FC Barcelona lost the El Clasico despite the rapper having backed them to defeat Real Madrid. And I know what you're thinking, does he have money lying around to place losing bets all the time? Well, yes, especially when you realize that Drake's primary sources of income were singing and rapping, rather than his original claim to fame, which was acting. Crazy, right? So there you have it. From becoming a curse in sports that athletes don't want on their side, to losing millions of dollars in bets that dented a hole in his wallet, that was the Drake curse, and Jake Paul blames him for losing his fight.